Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Price List Update Summary video series brought to you by Actionable Insights. You've got Harrison here, you've got Whatley there, and you've got Stone there. We're here to talk about the changes, new line items that were added to the Xactimate price list in February 2025. Ooh, not 24 anymore. And as well as the changes to the existing line items in Xactimate. What is up, gentlemen? We just came out of Elevate, the Verisk Elevate conference in Salt Lake City, where Stone, you and I had a chance to jump on stage with Amber Lee from Verisk and talk about Xactexpert and the value of live estimating guidance and what this drawer in Xactexpert can do with the actionable alerts. So if you're interested in learning more about our presentation, about Xactexpert, or what our actionable alerts, our live estimating guidance can do, check out our website, getinsights.org. In the meantime, the only other event on our calendar, that the major one, if you are around and you would like to join us Wednesday, February 26th in Phoenix, Arizona, Actionable will be attending the RIA local event from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you are available Wednesday, February 26th, and you want to join our team in Phoenix and hang out with RIA members, come on down, come on, join us. We'll have some fun together and do some more of this stuff. Now, gentlemen,
I got one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if you guys know, but I'm going out with one of the Actionable employees out to Albi Evolve. So Scottsdale, flying in on the 19th of February. So yeah, Alex is running a mastermind out there, and really a different group than the traditional IRA group.
Right.
Harrison, that kind of biases maybe the roofer side of the house, but also more traditional restorers will be there too. So anyhow, if you guys are interested, there might be still space. I'm not sure how any of that works, but that's where I will be.
This is always a busy month for Actionable, so we want to make sure we highlight what events we'll be at. And if you'll be there, say hi. We love saying hi and talking about the stuff that we have been building with you. So, gentlemen, there are 30 new line items this month, so let's jump in and talk about what has been added to the Xactimate price list with our new line items.
Let's do it.
New line items.
All right, starting here at the top, MTL metal category, RFGVF. It's a Valley W flashing for metal roofing. Stone, you're our Midwest boy. Where does the Valley W flashing for metal roofing fall in here?
Yeah, so this new line item fills in a missing link for the roofing category. This is a Valley metal or flashing that's usually exposed, has a little bit of a higher profile, and it's common on more higher quality roofs.
Very nice. So good addition. There is a collection of new TCR line items. Now, if you read the descriptions of these line items, you've probably seen them before. Things like clean floor or roof joist system in confined space, clean stud wall, HEPA vacuuming, exposed framing wall, exposed framing with sheathing, exposed, etc. Okay, we've had these line items in the WTR categories or alike. Now these line items exist in the TCR category with a default labor trade code of trauma, crime remediation, or alike. Why are these important? For me specifically, I started my career in program estimating. And in program estimating, when you're working program claims, you are asked to use the price list as is, as often as possible, and not deviate from pricing in those environments. So when you update a labor trade code for a line item, it will trigger that, hey, something's changed. It triggers a review. It triggers a bunch of documentation, justification, back and forth, and communication, which really just delays the ability to settle the claim. So now having these line items in the TCR category will allow those in program environments to make sure they're using the right line item with the right labor trade code for that particular activity. So big fan of that. There are 6 new line items in the TMP temporary repairs category around board up, specific to boarding up garages and exterior openings, boarding up a single car garage, and boarding up 2-car garages, including some after-hour variants. Stone, what are your thoughts on these new garage door board up line items in the TMP category?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done a lot of board ups in my career, both from, say, fires, vehicle collisions, etc. And before, you had to kind of approach it from a time and material basis. You know, what plywood, what 2x4s you're using to board up the holes in the structure, and that result in labor. This is a little more elegant way to approach that now that we have some line items for at least the most common occurrences for board up needs.
Makes sense. Whatley, it's too hot. God damn. All right, we've got 2 new line items in the TMP category for temporary AC cooler. Now, we are Southern California boys, so we can't ever talk about weather. Our opinions on weather, Whatley, are forever just dismissed by everyone that watches this video because we live where we live. However, in some places, it gets hot. Inside of homes, it gets hot. What is the goal behind these new temporary AC cooler line items?
One of the most common applications I see actually is in a commercial setting where the large AC condensers are down as part of the loss, and then there's an interest in keeping those tenants in the property, and so you can now deploy these temporary AC coolers just to keep the room cool for humans. There's also another application for these line items where, and this is where you wouldn't see this in San Diego or more desert climates that get hot, but areas that are like really hot and they're swampy. So think of our friends out at Right Way or
Florida,
Southeast Restoration, or Guarantee Restoration in Louisiana. I've seen situations where the dehumidifiers are not performing. This is especially true with traditional conventional grain refrigerant. The dehus can't perform, and so you actually can back it up with air movers to bring the temp down. Low grain refrigerant dehus are doing better, Harrison. They can take you about to 125 degrees and still be reasonably productive. But anything over 125 degrees, you just can't get much dehumidification, even with LGRs. And so that's why I mentioned like Louisiana and stuff. Like if the air is that humid, you can't just bring in outside air. It's not going to help get your vapor pressures up. So you can just back it with an AC cooler. Having said that, you better get ready to F9 note your ass off if you're a restorer and you're adding a temp AC unit to your containment area. So make sure you justify that, because that's not going to fit in the head of most adjusters unless they're one of the few that actually watch this video.
Document.
Yeah, Whatley, I think you nailed it. This is not a line item that's designed to help keep your workers cool while they work, right? There's legitimate reasons that these services would need to be performed, or this equipment needs to be deployed, and we want to make sure it's exciting to have these new additions, guys. These are the kinds of line items that are needed for our industry to be able to capture the real costs of performing these services in the field. But if these line items get abused or people try to use them out of the ordinary, then this is why we can't have nice things, guys. So this is why we record these videos every month, so we can all be on the same page of these wonderful additions to the price list and make sure that we use them responsibly and as they're supposed to be used to make sure that we can have nice things like this. So last, couple new line items in the TMP category around winterization of residences. Dry heat, wet steam heat, small, large, and some dewinterization line items as well. Stone, talk through what is the purpose of these winterization line items and the activity that's being performed in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we were teasing earlier, I'm from the Midwest. A winter storm is coming in right now. It's going to be
never
0
teasing,
degrees
brother. Never
tomorrow.
teasing.
But you've got houses where furnaces are going to be overworked and they stop, or there's a fire and there's no heat for a structure, and you need to prevent additional secondary damage to plumbing that otherwise will freeze and could possibly break. So now we have a line item for winterization instead of contractors trying to just do a bid item and substantiate that, or just labor hours if their technicians are, attempting to do that winterization and drain traps, etc. themselves.
I love these kind of line items where, maybe some carriers have to extend relief for something that makes them a little uncomfortable. Winterization. But on balance, it's such a good investment. It's kind of like carriers going, okay, I'll hold my nose for paying for your $20 supply line material. Like, yeah, they're not there to pay for maintenance issues, but like on balance, that helps constrain additional losses in a really significant way. And there's gray area there when you have consequential damages, meaning when you disconnect that supply line, you're going to disrupt those O-rings. And if it's been there for 25 years, for sure, it's not going to want to go back and seal the same way. So that's a consequential damage. Anyhow, I think winterization, Stone, would be a similar. Like, you're not going to just bill a carrier for winterization. So there's some reason, there's some consequential damage, some other building activities warranted that winterization. And to the extent that this sets a carrier back $200, it's probably the best $600 they're ever going to spend, in my opinion, as to not be exposed to bad outcomes associated with secondary loss, right?
Yeah, everybody hates end of loss repairs or complete. Homeowners about to move in, a stressed pipe breaks, redamages the structure. That sucks for everybody.
Yep, and we like to avoid situations where it sucks for everybody. Hello, we're Actionable Insights. All right, that's the 30 new line items that were added to Xactimate this month. Let us jump and check out the changes.
Checking out the changes.
All right, I'll do my cool, sexy snap thing that I do here. Whoa. On the left-hand side, you're going to see a January estimate with the January 2025 price list. On the right-hand side, we have a February price list. These are the line items that have existed in the software, but have had a few changes that we like to highlight every month so that, you know, if you've been using this line item for 37 years in the same fashion, there might be a little change that we need to be aware of. And often, this month, a lot of these changes are primarily clarification changes. There's no major yield changes or like. But taking a look here at DMO dump, you'll see, you know, an additional sentence and clarification. You know, this line item here is an each. The unit on this line item is each, not day. But you'll see a new sentence that has been added here that says basically is being disposed. Estimator should enter the number of times the dumpster is emptied and not the assumed number of days it is rented, as this could vary due to the material being disposed of, job requirements, etc., etc. So just an additional sentence clarifying the intention of how do we use this line item, how do we charge for this line item, etc. Here in the DMO tree line item, tearing out a tree and disposal, they've modified the assembly briefly of some of the line items in here. One of the biggest changes here is they've added specifically if you need a skid steer, here's the line item for that. Gentlemen, I have always loved the additional item information. Before Exact Expert existed, right? I needed to constantly look at these things and find out what is in the line item, what am I missing, what is not included. So anytime they're clarifying these things are not in the line item, if needed, see here, that's language I love to see to make sure people are aware of how does this software work. Lastly, small change here in the frame 54T line items. Essentially, they've updated the default depreciation. When people were printing out reports, it would just show up in a place that it wasn't supposed to show up. So they've made some updates to assign it to the proper default depreciation. All right, that's it, gentlemen. Not a ton of change. 30 new line items, but not a ton of changes to existing ones. We have one final segment. Let us look forward to the future.
Forward to the future.
Every month, Xactimate gives us a little preview of, hey, what's new, what might be coming. Just this month, we have 4 actual bullet points to look at. Number 1, modifying the removal activity for drip edge items to clarify during a full phase roofing phase removal, the drip edge would be included in the shingle item removal. So we should see this actually. Whatley, I don't think we've seen a lot of upcoming changes highlighted in this section. Previously, it's just here are the new line items that we're looking at potentially adding, right? So this is more of a comment on, and we're going to be modifying some of these drip edge items. So that's good to be aware that that's coming. And then adding items for temporary railing, adding additional bid items for cabinetry restoration, adding items in the WTR category for tearing out a countertop subdeck, and adding items to patch various commercial flat roofing materials. Anything in that list stand out to you as I want to learn more about that when it's ready?
Yeah, I mean, the subdeck one for the WTR category is interesting. Things I've learned over the years is everything on the West Coast, as far as countertops, I shouldn't use absolute statements, but it's been my experience that it has a subdeck on it. You get out to Southeast, right? And what did Trent and Jeremy teach us? Is that they do thicker granite or thicker corian, and they don't do a subdeck. So that's interesting. So what is the idea? Are they going to pull subdeck out of those existing line items and make it separate? I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do. Be it as though West Coast, East Coast does different stuff. I'm interested to see how that one plays out in particular.
Makes sense. All right. That has been the February 2025 Price List Update Summary video. Thank you. If this was your first video of ours you've ever watched, you've made it through the video. Congrats. Thank you. We've been doing these videos since January of 2020. We've been publishing articles about the changes in the Xactimate price list since 2015. Whatley, it's been a decade of our lives together studying this price list and how the industry is supposed to leverage this bad boy. It's been a pleasure, and I cannot wait for next month, March, where we will talk about the new additions to the Xactimate price list, as well as the changes to the price list at that time. In the meantime, good luck settling those claims out there.
Keep building.
Don't stop learning and growing.